I will open the Beaumont City Council meeting for Tuesday, November 6th, 2018. We will be opening closed session at 4 p.m. Could I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Santos?
Here.
Councilmember White?
Here.
Councilmember Lara?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Martinez?
Here.
Mayor Carroll?
Here. City Attorney, could you please read the items?
The first item in closed session will be item number 2, conference with labor negotiator pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. The city designated representative is City Manager Todd Parton or his designee. Also attending will be Carrie Mendoza. That's regarding the SEIU. Item 3, conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1. AC Equipment Incorporated et al. Versus City of Beaumont, case number RIC 1714429. Item number 4, conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1. Elizabeth Serrato versus City of Beaumont, case number RIC 1820593. Item number 5, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D2 and or 3, one potential case. Item 6, conference with legal counsel regarding potential initiation of litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D4, one potential case. And item 7, public employee performance evaluation pursuant to Government Code Section 54957B1, employee title City Manager.
Thank you. We do not have any public comments, correct? No. Okay, thank you. With that, we will go into closed session and return. session at 5:14. Could we get a report out from the city attorney, please?
The council met in executive session. Item number 2, conference with labor negotiator pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. City designated representative, city manager Todd Parton, or his designee. Also in attendance was Carrie Mendoza regarding the SEIU labor negotiations. There was reportable action taken on that item. There was a motion to approve a memorandum of understanding between the City of Beaumont and the SEIU. That motion was made by Councilmember White, and there was a second by Laura. And the vote was Mayor Carroll, yes. Vice Mayor Martinez, yes, to approve. Councilmember White, yes. Councilmember Laura, and Councilmember Santos, yes. So all voted yes in favor of approving the MOU.
Thank you very much.
Item number 3, conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1. AC Equipment Incorporated et al. Versus City of Beaumont et al. Case number RIC 1714429. There was no reportable action. Item 4, conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1. Elizabeth Serrato versus City of Beaumont, case number RIC 1820593. There was reportable action taken on item 4. There was a motion to defend the lawsuit that's been filed, and it was a first by Mayor Carroll and a second by Councilmember Laura, and the vote was Mayor Carroll, yes, to defend. Vice Mayor Martinez, yes, to defend. Councilmember White also voted to defend. Councilmember Santos voted to defend, and Councilmember Laura voted to defend. Item number 5, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D2 and/or 3, one potential case. There was no reportable action taken. Item 6, conference with legal counsel regarding potential initiation of litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D4, one potential case. There was no reportable action. And item number 7, public employee performance evaluation pursuant to Government Code Section 54957B1, employee title, city manager, and we didn't have enough time to get to that item, and so the council would like to continue that to the next agenda. And that's it.
Thank you, sir. With that, I will open the regular session at 5:17 p.m. Could I have a call to order, please?
Councilmember Santos?
Here.
Councilmember White?
Here.
Councilmember Lara?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Martinez?
Here.
Mayor Carroll?
Here. Thank you. Do I have any conflict of interest?
I do on the, I believe it's item 15. Nope. Item 16, I'll be recusing myself for travel expenses.
All right, thank you. Okay, could I, our city manager, would you please lead us in the pledge tonight? Thank you.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll begin tonight with volunteer recognition. I was part of the nominating process with the chief and the city manager on deciding a number of people in the community, and some of them we see a lot of that are deserving of recognition. Riverside County has an annual award dinner where it's a lovely event, and one of our people that we nominated for a volunteer award, for a yearly award for their hard work and their dedication to the community, was not able to attend, so we are going to do it tonight. and that is George Diggs. And George Diggs, I'm just going to read you one of them, but you have gotten many. You have gotten recognition from Riverside County, from the California legislative body, from the California Senate, from the city of Beaumont, and we're just absolutely humbled by your dedication. So I'm going to read one of them, which is from the Senate. Presented to George Diggs, on behalf of the California State Senate, I am honored to congratulate you on receiving the Beaumont Police Department Civic Duty Lifetime Award. Your dedication to helping others sets an example of selflessness and generosity. I commend you for your exemplary service to our local community. Congratulations. And that is from Richard Roth, Senator of the 31st District. And with that, I'd like to invite the Chief. Chief, would you like to say a few words for George? Do you want to say a few words for George?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You know, we talked about this recently at our award ceremony that you all were a part of, and Mr. Diggs joined us several years ago, and not only joined as a CVP, but really took hold of the program. And we always talk about sense of ownership and solving problems at the lowest level possible. That there's always informal leadership within your own peers and your ranks, and so George here took control of the CVPs, organized it in a way that it hadn't been, and we elevate him to the commander of the CVP unit. You know, we just don't have to, we just give it the resources he needs to keep it running. We don't have to put a whole lot of touch on it. As you know, we do an annual dinner thanking them. That's coming up in the first week of February. We'll make sure you're invited. But, you know, George gives countless hours. And actually, we do count them, but I can't count that much. I mean, you're at the 11,000 hours of service to this city, to this community. And so he really is the engine behind it. And of course, I had to thank Mrs. Diggs because she allows him to spend 11,000 hours with us. And so we just thank you, George. And how would you like to?
If you would come up with the other plaques, I have a medal for him.
Okay.
So, George, could you please come up here, if you would, please? You have to be in the middle here, George.
There's a lot.
That's what happens when you give that much time. So on behalf of the community, the chief, the city of Beaumont, and Riverside County, you're a remarkable volunteer. And I don't know what we'd do without you.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you, George. Thank you. Here's one of your
We're probably going to take a photo, but thank you very much, George.
We don't want to hold it.
Okay, we'll do this. And then
That's from the city.
Okay? Thank you. Okay, I'm sure the council would like to meet you. Okay?
Okay?
We're good?
Thank you, Mayor.
I don't know. I picked that up in the back.
Next step is the key to the city area.
Okay.
Oh, and here, George, here's one. Sure.
Sure. Thank you.
All of them?
The mic,
Just Nancy's
the mic closer to your
You
mouth.
want one more?
No, the mic.
Move the mic
Oh, it's not close enough? Okay, thank you. Is that better? I don't know. Is that better, Heather? Thank you. Okay, sorry. Too many things on the desk here. All right. We're on to public comments. Do we have public comments?
I do not have any requests to speak.
Okay, thank you. With that, I will move on to the consent calendar. Items on the consent calendar are taken as one action item unless there is an item pulled for further discussion. Here at the end of items. Approval of all ordinances and resolutions are to be read by title only. Are there any items on the consent calendar that any council members would like to pull, or if there are public comments on them?
I have one comment on one item. I don't need it pulled, but I wanted to thank staff for item number 11, the project updates, and make it clear that the improvements that you've done to City Hall have been way under what we expected it to be, and there's rumors out there that I think it's up to 10 million now, something like that. So I think it's at 165,000, and I think it was a great addition to the City Hall and to the office environment for our staff. So I did want to appreciate that. I want to let you know I appreciate your reporting that back to us.
Thank you. With that, do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I move to approve the consent calendar, all items.
I'll second.
Councilmember Santos?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Lara?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Martinez?
Yes.
Mayor Carroll?
Yes. I did have a request to move item 13 up before item 12, so we will take item 13 next. Item 13 is to open the public hearing to approve the City of Beaumont CDBG funding priorities as follows: infrastructure improvements, recreation improvements, youth and after-school programs, support services for veterans, and special needs. So do I need to give you a time to open this, or?
After the staff report is read, then we can open the
All
public
right,
hearing.
fine. Hi, Christine.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The County of Riverside is undergoing the process of preparing the 2019-2024 five-year consolidated plan. It is required by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development as a condition of receiving federal funding for CDBG, as well as emergency shelter grants and Home Investment Partnership Act programs. The purpose of the five-year plan is to provide input on the prioritization of community development needs and activities that would be funded with CDBG funds. The consolidated plan is designed to be a collaborative process, and the county requires the City of Beaumont to participate, as well as have our residents participate. So as part of the participation, the city made surveys available at City Hall, the community center. We did a social media push, and we also put the survey on the city's website. Staff also announced the availability of the surveys through a variety of press releases and at various public meetings, all to encourage the surveys be completed by our residents. We received 22 survey responses, and they are summarized in the table on the staff report, as well as included in detail as an attachment. The priorities as listed were number one being infrastructure improvements such as streets and sidewalks. Then we had recreational improvements such as parks and community centers, followed by youth and after-school programs and support services for homeless veterans and special needs individuals. Staff is recommending that we hold the public hearing and approve the City of Beaumont CDBG funding priorities as follows: infrastructure improvements, recreation improvements, youth and after-school programs, and support services. Staff is available if you have any questions.
Thank you. I will open the public hearing at 5:29. But we're going to take comments from council also. So do we have public comments lined up for this item?
I don't have any requests.
All right. So do I have any comments or questions for staff from council members?
Good with the order. I think the order is good. Obviously, infrastructure is one of the bigger items that the city hasn't had the opportunity to pursue due to lack of funds. So and we definitely need to start looking at our parks and community centers. They're in some disrepair, in need of repair, I should say. And then obviously youth and after school, we have a lot. So I like the way that the organization is on that.
I have comments if no one else has any. All right. I did do a tour of the Boys and Girls Club with Amy Hare, and I was absolutely astonished that it services as many students as it does and has the structure of the programs that it does. Elizabeth and I went and did a tour, and we learned about all of the computer facilities that they have and the structured program. We looked at what they were doing for photography competitions to get the kids more involved in photography and learning the whole process of doing that on a competitive level. It's an absolutely remarkable program. Now I realize that there are many others here that are critical and remarkable too, but I have to say I was really so pleasantly surprised by how much more it was than I ever expected. And one of the things that Amy brought up that she was hoping to expand is the arts program. So she did say she takes voluntary items, so I have a significantly large easel that I will figure out a way to get to you. I think it fits in my SUV, but it's nice and sturdy, so it'll take a lot of banging around in the center, and I have some other things for you. So if anyone in the community knows of things that may be of use to the Boys and Girls Club, she told me that she promises she turns almost nothing away. So that's it. With that, do I need to, I can close this public meeting, or do I need to keep this one open?
No, you can close the public meeting.
Okay. So if there are no more comments or questions, I will close the public hearing at 5:32.
I move to approve the City of Beaumont CDBG funding priorities as follows: infrastructure improvements, recreation improvements, youth and after-school programs, support services for homeless veterans, and special needs.
I'll second that.
Councilmember Santos?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Lara?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Martinez?
Yes.
Mayor Carroll?
Yes. Thank you. With that, I will go back to item 12. Item 12 is to hold a public hearing and authorize staff to submit applications for CDBG 2019-2020 program year funding.
Thank you, Mayor. This item follows the previous item. Each year, the city applies for CDBG funding for various eligible projects throughout the city. The anticipated amount of funding the city expects to receive this year is $147,250. The City of Beaumont can use up to 14% of our funds for public programs. Construction projects, we can use up to 100% of the funding. Based on this year's CDBG projections, the city would be able to fund approximately $20,615 in nonprofit programs, with the minimum funding being allowed for a single program is $5,000. The proposed application is divided into two sections. The first section is for public nonprofit programs, and the second section is for public improvement projects. Council approval is to authorize the preparation and submittal of the County of Riverside Community Development Block Grant Program application to the Riverside County Economic Development Agency. Staff received one request from a nonprofit organization for CDBG fundings, and that is the Boys and Girls Club of the San Gorgonio Pass in a requested amount of $20,000. The proposed funding is for the Boys and Girls Club Camp Kids program, which consists of summer camp, Thanksgiving camp, winter camp, and spring camp programs. Funds would be applied to salaries and supplies and costs for programming. The proposed public improvement project is per the city's capital improvement program. Staff has put together one eligible construction project application for Rangel Park Improvement Project Phase 2. The first phase of Rangel Park Improvement Project was with last funding from CDBG, and it was ball field upgrades, new fencing, irrigation, restrooms, and ADA stands for visitor viewing. The proposed improvement for Phase 2 of this project is for the baseball field lighting. Staff is anticipating 4 light poles would need to be purchased to replace what's out there now. CDBG does allow for some administrative cost recovery if funded for the city's work in doing, preparing the applications and administering the grants on our end. Staff is recommending that you hold a public hearing and approve and authorize staff to submit a CDBG application for the Boys and Girls Club of the San Gorgonio Pass program request of $20,000, subject to the condition that the applicant apply for and receive funds for the same program from the county or other EDA participating cities. And approve and authorize staff to prepare and submit a CDBG application for the Rangel Park Improvement Project Phase 2. Additionally, give authority to the city manager to reduce or increase the amount funded to the projects based on the amount of funding available to the city of Beaumont.
Thank you. With that, I will open the public hearing for this at 5:36 p.m. Do we have any public comments?
I don't have any requests to speak.
All right. Do we have any questions from council members or comment?
No.
Okay, with that, I will close the public hearing at 5:37 p.m. And I will make a motion to approve and authorize staff to submit a CDBG application for the Boys and Girls Club of the San Gorgonio Pass program request of $20,000, subject to the condition that the applicant apply for and receive funds for the same program from the county or other EDA participating cities.
I'll second.
I think I have to read
Okay.
the second one also.
Can we do both together?
So, and to approve and authorize staff to prepare and submit a CDBG application for the Rangel Park Improvement Project Phase 2, and additionally give authority to the city manager to reduce or increase the amount funded to the projects based on the amount of funding available to the city of Beaumont.
Now I'll second.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Santos?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Lara?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Martinez?
Yes.
Mayor Carroll?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. We're on to item 14 in the action items. Item 14 is the wastewater treatment plant expansion, renovation, and brine line pipeline installation project status update.
All right, this is your first of many, maybe 18 months worth of updates on your projects. So just running through the brine line as well as the wastewater treatment plant, followed by a ratification of your first change order and an approval of the second change order. So just to give you an update, we have issued all the notice to proceed for the project. Those are in your packet. You can see the completion date that we put very clearly in there. We left ourselves about a month to spare on each one of those. And then in addition to that, we held the pre-construction meetings as well as the groundbreaking that everyone attended. So we anticipate that we will be kicking off our construction meetings in a couple of weeks. We're already starting to see the flood of RFIs, the request for informations coming in from the contractors, so that's great. We're also still working on permitting, and we gave you a list of permits that we've pulled as well as permits that we anticipate. At this point, you have authorized us up to $100,000 on any given permit. Anything above and beyond that, we will bring back to you. And so we are finalizing many of those so that the contractors can get going. We don't expect that we would be moving dirt on the brine line until December, maybe January. They have a lead time on the pipe material for it to come in, but they're actively out there working, potholing, looking for utility conflicts and everything else in those many different jurisdictions that we're going through once we get those permits. In addition to that, same thing with the wastewater treatment plant. We've issued the notice to proceed, had the construction meeting, actively working. That contractor has moved on site, as you saw during the groundbreaking ceremony. So we believe at this point everything is going very well. 2 change orders for you. The first one is a ratification. So a portion of the brine line, we chose not to bid with the project because we felt like it would be a cheaper solution to come through the Potrero Bridge. And so we're bringing you back that portion and rerouting. That'll come back tonight as well as in the future. So the ratification of the first change order is everything that we needed in order to keep the Potrero Bridge contractor moving forward. So this is Ortiz Construction. That was some pipe materials as well as the knockouts in the bridge. And then the second portion of that is actually putting the pipe, the brine line through the bridge, and that would be the balance of that. And then we plan to bring back to you either November 20th or your first meeting in December, a change order for WECA, which would close that gap on both sides. We did a little bit of rerouting down 4th Street because that alignment made more sense coming forward to you. And so on the second change order, the first one is a ratification of the materials and the time that they've expended to date. The second change order is actually approving the change order because, again, we're doing this in advance of that needed work. That particular change order is a bit higher than we believe it should cost, and so we're asking council to direct us back to the contractor to do a time and materials per their contract. We believe that will come in cheaper than the number that we're showing you, but that would be the ultimate amount because that is the amount the contractor to date has given us. And so I'm happy to answer any questions. We'll be bringing you back this report. Hope there's enough numbers in there for you at once a month.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think we do 15 reports, not 8.
That'll cost 30. We hope. Fingers crossed.
Do we have any public comments on this? All right, thank you. Okay, thank you very much.
Mayor, I have a question.
Sure.
Can you talk about, just remind us why we did not bid that gap piece? I know you probably just touched on it, but if you could get more into detail on that, I think that's important.
So there was an original alignment that actually went through what is now the Amazon project. That was the original alignment. At the time, we didn't know when you were going through design how far along you would be with Potrero Bridge. We're much further along, and we felt there was a jack and bore near the Potrero project, and we felt like going through the line gave us better maintenance opportunity for the future, as well as it would be cheaper. And so looking at the 2 alignments, again, this one's roughly about the same cost as a jack and bore, but we believe from a maintenance standpoint, this is a better alignment all the way around.
Thank you.
Is that the one where you did not, it was not included in part of the original bid?
That's correct. So we had it in the original project accounting, understanding that we still needed some funds for it, but it was not in there. But it is part of your contingency money that we originally planned for.
Okay, thank you for that explanation.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I need to clarify something though. I thought the 530, 562 was a part of the 53 construction amount, and that the contingency still has the 2.6 available.
So this is part of the brine line, so it's the top portion, so the
Right.
40 million.
I mean, the 31.
The 31. No, sir, that's actually all to WECA and TE Roberts. We had left this in the contingency amount because you have not awarded it yet.
Okay, so that 2.6 is going to come down then.
That's correct.
Okay.
And that was always planned to come down
Okay.
as part of that.
Okay, well, that'll work. All right, thank you. Oh, and then that force account is what you're talking about, of getting it evaluated for the price.
Yeah, we're hoping that comes,
that.
I hate to set some expectation. We're hoping that will come
Well.
down, to 200,000 maybe.
That should bring,
Do it.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Santos Alara, do you have any questions?
That's been answered on the questions of, Councilman Lloyd on that. I mean, the gap in there.
Yes, sir.
And I know before we were thinking of underneath the boring it, and also now we're going to the bridge.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's more feasible. I mean, more cost effective and.
We believe that the actual travel, the path, is easier for maintenance long-term, and the cost was about the same. So we actually had the construction manager, the design team look at it, and this was the preferred path, was to go through the bridge.
That's good. I mean, that's my question is the maintenance on that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to ratify. First, receive and file the project updates, ratify change order number 1 for the installation of the brine line through the Potrero Bridge in an amount not to exceed $238,615.70. And approve change order number 2 for the installation of the brine line through the Potrero Bridge in an amount not to exceed $324,043.15, and direct staff to implement force accounting per the contract.
All second.
Councilmember Santos?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Lara?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Martinez?
Yes.
Mayor Carroll?
Yes. Item 15, accept the deposit of $1,857,712.06 from Lassen Development for the installation of 2 water lines through the Potrero Bridge. Authorize the increase in contingency funds from $2,418,110.50 to $4,275,822.56 to allow for change orders associated with the installation of the water lines. And authorize change order number 12 for water line improvements remaining work in the amount of $1,526,712.06. And the project summary and construction change order update.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and member of council. So I'll give you guys a little bit of history behind a little update on the project first. So the bridge is on schedule. Beaumont Cherry Valley Water District has condition of approval for the Lassen development to provide water to their development. So that's where the need for installation of that those 2 water lines and 1 recycled water line came about. And the developer approached us back in July or a little before that the need of installing those lines through the bridge. For same reason, they wanted to go through the bridge, not going jack and bore later on because of the cost and unforeseen conditions when you jack and bore underneath the bridge. So the first thing, we required them to make the deposit, so they initially came to keep the bridge, the critical path and moving. They were required to deposit $60,000 check to do the initial cutouts in the bridge, in the abutment walls. And then they came and deposited the remaining $1,797,712.06, bringing their total to $1,857,712.06. So we have that money in hand now. So the first item is to accept that deposit. So and then the second action item will be to increase the contingency of the project, which is $2,418,110.50. With addition of these additional funds, the contingency will be increased to $4,275,822.56. So Assistant City Manager just went over the change order number 9 and 10. 10 and 11. And number 12 is regarding the 2 water lines and the recycled water line through the bridge portion only. So this cost is only for installation. They are providing the materials for the pipe through the bridge to the contractor directly. So this is just the installation cost, and we have a cost from the contractor. So the action on this will be to authorize the change order number 12 for water line improvements installation through the bridge in the amount of $1,527,712.06. 6 cents. And we'll go over the change order status. So as of last council meeting, we had updated council change order up to change order number 9. Change order number 8. So change order number 9 was for the water line improvements through the bridge. So that include the cutouts through the abutment walls to keep the no delays in the project. So that was city manager had the authority to authorize that, and they had deposited their own money at that time. The brine line improvements, the other one was we had to authorize that change order in order to keep the critical path of the bridge to keep moving the project along, and city manager had the authority to authorize that change order. Change order number 11 just got approved on the previous action item. So the next item that needs to be approved is the water line improvements installation through the bridge. And another change order that we had to approve based on the Caltrans safety team out there looking due to accidents and other vandalism stuff. There's missing chain link fence onto the freeway to protect the pedestrian and to get on, or animals to get onto the freeway. So that is one of the biggest concerns that we had to approve that change order to install the missing chain link fence or the damaged one to repair. And there's enough funds in the project contingency to pay for those costs. So that includes my staff report. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you, Aftab. Do we have any public comments on this item?
We do not.
All right. I will turn it over to council then. Do I have any council questions?
I just want to comment that I like the summary detail of the change order, so I'd like to continue to see that. It really helps to keep an oversight on the project, so thank you.
Well, yeah, those, like Assistant City Manager just mentioned, we'll be bringing those monthly updates on every project.
Okay, with that, I will make a motion to approve, to accept the deposit of, I hate reading these numbers again, $1,857,712.06 from Lassen Development for the installation of 2 water lines through the Potrero Bridge.
Can we add the recycled water in there too in the action? So that's 2 water lines and a recycled water line.
Okay.
Sorry.
With the modifications that Aftab just mentioned, and to authorize the increase in contingency funds from $2,418,110.50 to $4,275,822.56 to allow for change orders associated with the installation of the water lines, and to authorize change order number 12 for water line improvements remaining work in the amount of $1,526,712.06, and to accept the project summary and construction change order update. Do I have a second?
Can you repeat that, Mayor? I'll second.
Councilmember Santos?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Somebody
Yes.
keep the numbers.
Councilmember Lara?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Martinez?
Yes.
Mayor Carroll?
Yes. Thank you. Item 16.
Since
Councilmember-
item 16 is a reimbursement of
Yes.
of my travel expenses, I'm going to recuse myself from this item.
So,
I'll make a motion to approve the reimbursement request in the amount of $45.78.
you just did that.
I'll
because it
second
was an
that.
easier number.
Councilmember Santos?
Yes.
Councilmember Lara?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Martinez?
Yes.
Mayor Carroll?
Yes. Would
Oh, thank
a
you.
high sign.
Don't sleep in there.
Okay, item 17, legislative updates and discussion. Mr. Warsinski.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I passed out the monthly report for the month of October of 2018 for your review, so it's very detailed. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. Obviously, the state legislature has been adjourned for a little bit. The governor has taken action on all remaining bills and legislation up there, and really the Capitol's focused on tonight's election. State economic update I found interesting, which the state's unemployment rate is at a record low at 4.2%, and the United States as a whole is down to 3.7%. Historically, if you look at everything that's record lows, when you get down to that level of unemployment, it's really zero. Because the people that are unemployed are kind of looking, but there's enough jobs out there for most people that are actually qualified and can get a job. So the other ones are in the scenario where they can get one, but they're not actively looking, so they fall into that 3%. You also saw California's personal income growth at 4.5%, so that does mirror slight wage growth, which we haven't seen too much of in the past couple years or so. Election update, as you probably know, there's a ton of elections going on statewide tonight. There's a couple statistics on who is in the lead for governor and then lieutenant governor, and at the California Senate race, but those look to be fairly decisive in terms of what the polling numbers are. We'll see exactly what the results are in the morning, or at least late tonight. Proposition 6 I thought was an interesting update. The polling there seems like a majority of the voters are looking at voting no on repealing of the gas tax. I think I talked about that at a previous meeting. It could be or due to the fact that the Attorney General worded it in the way that he did, and I think if everyone's voted so far, you saw how it was worded on there. The cannabis update is something that staff and our lobbyists are looking at closely. Right now, as we know, it's legal in California, but the state has still yet to create that California Bureau of Cannabis Control under the FDA. And what that exists, but the rules don't necessarily exist. So they're reviewing the final drafts of those rules. The comment period, the public comment period on those rules and policies ended yesterday. So the state departments now go to their comment period, which ends the beginning of December, actually on the 3rd. And then if there's no substantive changes within those rules and policies, the permanent regulations will take place in January of 2019. One item that I noticed in there is the last reiteration of those rules and policies does not allow a local city to prohibit deliveries. And I know that's something that we've looked at. We've asked our lobbyists to comment on it, but right now there doesn't seem to be an appetite at the state level for figuring out a way to allow local agencies to prohibit deliveries within their jurisdiction. So if we say outright no to dispensaries, someone from another jurisdiction could still provide a delivery service in our city the way the rules are currently written. So we'll keep a track on that one. Another one we're looking at staff level is the park bond update. So that was approved pretty overwhelmingly at the primary. So because it was approved in such a way, they're starting to roll out those programs and policies. So we have been starting to look at the different types of programs that are available for park bond money. And then legislative update for federal. president has signed 5 of 12 appropriation bills. Townsend put together a really fun graph for us to look at, which is green and red. So what that is each of the different bills left over. Green highlights proposed funding level at or above the level requested. Yellow is close, and then red is a significant budget cut. So you can kind of see the different programs they're looking at a federal level. The only other thing that I saw that we haven't talked about before was October 19th of this year, President Trump did sign a memorandum intended to support reliable water access in the state of California and other western states. In that document, the President directed the Interior Department as well as the Commerce Department to streamline regulatory processes, remove unnecessary burdens, and expedite ongoing environmental reviews for water infrastructure projects. So that's something that we'll look at in terms of how it may help. Probably won't hurt, but it's yet to see whether the Department of Interior or Commerce actually follow the request to expedite reviews or not. And that's really all I have, unless anyone has any questions that I can try to answer those or give you something in terms of a report back at the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Council reports. Do we have any questions from council members for Mr. Orsinski? Okay.
Thank you.
Council reports. I was with all of you when we attended the groundbreaking wastewater treatment plant. It was remarkable to be able to do it, especially on Mr. Parton's anniversary. It's the least we could do. And I'm looking forward to CJ Foods, to doing a tour of CJ Foods tomorrow. And then we're also doing a senior Thanksgiving dinner on Saturday that I will be cooking turkeys and serving turkey for. So that's it. That's my report. Councilmember White?
We have the Panera grand opening tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Yes. I won't be there, so.
So that's all I have to report.
All right.
What else can I say?
Drive-through.
I know.
Mayor Pro Tem Martinez?
I met with the Cub Scout Pack 322 as a part of their interview, a civic leader requirement badge. And that was interesting. I had a very good time. 3 or 4 of the young students there that interviewed me, and I thought it was very professional with them. They were very, very astute of what was going on in the city, and I was pretty impressed with what they had to ask, and it was a fun time. And the only other thing is for the RCA meeting, we discussed more land acquisition for the habit conservation. We're up to 59,000 acres now for the RCA, and we talked about more possible land acquisitions from the Anheuser-Busch properties, and I'll report more back on that probably on the next time. And lastly, our species of the month is a plant. I don't know what you can do with that, but it's called the mud nama. Mud nama, 2 words. Yeah. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you. Don't know what to do with it.
Thank you. Councilmember Santos?
Sure does.
The thing is, I really appreciate, what Carl, conducted a local starts and entrepreneur meet and greets. That was a good, turnout and eye opener for the new, business coming in our city. And 2 of them, called me and I have a communication with them to, do network with them. And hopefully we will continue that and do some follow-ups on that kind of program. And that will help our new, entrepreneur in the city. Thank you about that. That's all I have.
Councilmember Lara?
One of the agenda items this evening was the CDBG application one. I appreciate the effort staff went through to try to get as much input as they could. I was disappointed to see we only had 22 applications, but staff was plugging away and giving it a shot. So I'd like to look at maybe, I don't know if there's an app we can push out to try to get more involvement from the city, but 22 out of 46,000 is a little low, unfortunately, but not for the lack of trying. So I appreciate the efforts from staff, and that's all I have, Mayor.
Economic development update.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So we had an Economic Development Committee meeting. We did the kickoff for the strategic plan. So we had the city's consultant come and do the precursor to what's going to be happening, kind of give them an update and a lowdown of exactly what the process is going to be. Another update I have on the strategic plan is currently we have 45 individuals RSVP'd for those summit meetings. So that's very good. We're currently looking at some of the work that the consultants produced for us in terms of data research and then comparative cities. So we're looking at those. We're excited about that. Where's the rest of my notes at? Councilmember White did talk about the Panera Bread opening. So that's something that the Economic Development Committee was apprised of at the very beginning on what we were doing to try to attract those types of things. So hopefully they'll be able to attend because they've kind of seen how it went through the process and how long it actually takes. So I'm glad it's actually going to open because once in a while they don't. So that is tomorrow. We're excited about that. As well as Sonic, we're working with the Chamber to do their grand opening, hopefully next Friday. Time to be determined. A fun note about the Sonic, if you want to brag, is this will be one of the first Sonics with indoor seating. So most do not. We told them
There you go.
it gets kind of windy here,
exciting.
so you may want to put some indoor seating. So ours will have. They had to do a whole new prototype for this building, so you'll see that as this one is different than most Sonics you see. So we'll let you know as soon as we get. Right?
Yeah.
You don't want them flying away.
Chili on them, that doesn't happen.
Chili holds them down.
Chili and cheese hold
Yeah.
them down. So good.
So that's all I have. The next meeting is obviously in November. We're looking forward to that. And then we're looking forward to getting our summit kickoff, or the summit meetings kicked off on the 15th of November. And then what was the other thing? Oh, November 29th. It's a Thursday, 6 p.m. here. The city's partnering with Riverside County, the Chamber of Commerce, and the Bank of Hemet to hold a follow-up meeting to kind of the startup and entrepreneur. And this is going to be I call access to capital, but like a funding educational seminar for our local businesses. So if they've grown or they need financing, this is going to be the one where we bring in the county, the small business administration, small business development centers, and local banks to talk about what types of loan options are available to a startup or a small business. So we're excited about that as well.
Do they need to have attended that first one to come to that one?
No, we're really going to push this one out to all the city businesses, just because they may have not attended the startup one because they're not starting up. They've been here for a couple years. But if they're at the point where they need to expand and they're not familiar with like an SBA 701 program or something like that, this will teach them what options are available. And hopefully if they want to expand, now they'll know how financially to do so or not.
Nice.
And you did a good job at the entrepreneur meet and greet that Councilmember Santos and I attended. You did a good job with handling that, and you had the Amazon press release this week.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, we were excited about that. So we're getting an Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, we have some nice pictures of the walls being tilted up today. So
Vertical.
they'll be doing that
The rumor
for
is
another.
Amazon is splitting their headquarters.
Yeah, I
So
saw
maybe
that too.
we're half of the headquarters. I don't think
Maybe.
so. Yeah.
Mayor, I
Okay.
have a couple of questions for Mr.
ahead.
Warsinski. First of all, on the entrepreneur meet and greet, the previous one as well as the one on November 29th. If you can get flyers for us, because I announced that at the last chamber meeting, but it would be nice to put stuff on the tables. So this week we have a different kind of chamber meeting with my buddy, John Husing, coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know that it's appropriate for that. If it is, we should get some flyers out there. I won't be going to that, though.
Yeah, we'll definitely get flyers there because the chamber's co-hosting the event.
Okay.
So they should have them. If not, Ashley and I will bring them because we're going to the thing on Friday.
Okay, good. And I saw an ad for Help Wanted for Sonic, and it showed a picture of a waiter on roller skates. They're not doing roller skates at our Sonic, are they?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's one of their like. That's one of their
do.
branding things. So if you, they're waiting.
I'm just seeing.
You and I will go eat there. And we'll get them.
seeing lawsuits. Is all I'm seeing.
They're weighted
Are you a good roller skater?
I am.
All right.
Good.
Yeah, it precludes me from working there as a waiter. 'Cause that would not go well.
My 16-year-old was asking.
Not really.
So I had to
You
tell her.
order in the, it's not a drive-through, they have a drive-through, but if you order in the park and eat things, they will have your
I wonder
roller
what their
skate
workman's comp is like.
attendants bring you the food.
Yeah.
So I'm almost positive they'll have them.
All right.
Don't you watch those ads on TV?
I do. I wondered what their workman's comp would like. I didn't think you could do that in California myself, but.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions for Kyle? Other
Good job,
than
Kyle.
roller skate questions?
This one will be good because the 29th will not be when the Dodgers are playing.
Oh.
The entrepreneur event was scheduled weeks in advance, and of course, the World Series on that
It was
day.
World Series night,
So
that's right.
next time, we're going to worry about how to simulcast. I'm working with IT on that.
All right.
So we can simulcast and have the startup meeting, so thank you.
All right, thank you, Kyle. City Treasurer report, she is not here. I attended the Finance and Audit Committee meeting, and we reviewed the financial reports. So we approved everything that was in the format and the content of the financial reports, and we made a list of things for future meetings. So I think we're pretty well aligned with where the budget and where the audit, we're getting an update on the audit at the next meeting, so they're moving along and staying on top of that. So city clerk report?
Nothing new.
City attorney report.
Yes, just briefly, in tab 18 in your packet this evening, you have a monthly status report on pending litigation that's been filed and served against the city. So this report contains litigation that's actually been filed against the city, and the city has been served. The city has no duty to respond to a lawsuit that somebody might file and decide for whatever reason not to serve against the city. But once it's served, then we include it on this list. The first item is the HUP cases. As you recall, I think there were 6 or 7 of those originally. It's down to the single consolidated case, which is now set for pretrial. In addition, we have the Urban Logic versus the City of Beaumont. Although Urban Logic sued the city in that case, the city is the one that's actually seeking the net recovery, financial recovery in that case against Urban Logic, arising out of their financial dealings with the city. The next one is AC Equipment versus the City of Beaumont. That's still at the pleading stage. And then number 4, Elijah Scott Talley versus the City of Beaumont. We're actively defending that case. And then there's a new case. The 5th one on the list is the Elizabeth Serrato versus the City of Beaumont. And tonight we reported out a closed session that council had approved defending this newly filed case and newly served case. In addition to that, we have claims pending against third parties. You'll recall that we have a lawsuit pending against McFarland and Anderson, the former bond counsel of the city. In addition to that, the city is pursuing a claim against its former bond disclosure counsel that Mr. Parton and I are working on. And then in addition to that, we have the claim against the former auditors for the city, Moss, Levy, and Hartzheim. And then lastly, a claim, a pretty sizable claim has been made against the city's the city's theft and dishonesty insurance policy through AIG, and so that's pending as well. And so that's a report on the status of litigation.
Thank you. City manager report.
Well, Councilman Laura, it's good to see you back at this meeting tonight.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate you bringing that up again.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not sure what you're talking about, sir. So, Ms. Pfeiffer, it's good to see you back. I'm sorry that you had to go to New York for the funeral.
Thank you for the
So,
condolences.
yeah, you're welcome. So, are the Yankees at rest now?
No.
Oh, okay. It is almost Halloween, isn't it? And it's kind of funny, I was reading up on the mud llama just tonight before the council meeting, and actually it's going extinct due to actions of people in California. They were intentionally eradicating it. It was blamed for the death of the Oakland Raiders. So they are relocating it to Denver, and you can see the obvious results.
Oh, hey, that was the South one. Wow.
Keep going. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. So a couple things real quick, and you kind of saw it in the Townsend report. We are working with SCAG on a grant to develop our transit master plan, and so we're in that process now. That'll also coincide with a SRTP that RCTC is looking to develop for transit services. There's another grant program that's being implemented. It's the IRWM grant. Mayor and I kind of talked about that on Monday. But that's an integrated reuse and water management grant. It provides dollars for planning and for improvements. So the concept was, can we use it for additional planning for our reuse system, looking at additional storage, things that we may need for moving forward with our full-blown recycled program. So that program is in the developmental stages. So on November 20th, there's actually an opportunity to provide comments on some of the preliminary proposals and concepts that they're putting together for the program. Then probably right around April of 2019 is when they're planning to begin to solicit for projects. So we're watching that. We'll be participating through that process as we kind of move along there. We are in the process of working through 3 bond sales that we had. 2 of them are in the Four Seasons area, so improvement areas 7B and 7D. Those bond sales we've concluded. We are through the bond acquisition agreements. We are closed to pre-close on those tomorrow, if final closing and funding on Thursday. So to recap, 7B has a total amount of about $3.4 million. So it's about $910 less than what we had originally forecast. The max annual debt source is $186,281, which is $199 less than what we had originally forecast. And our total interest calculation is 3.91%, which is 0.03% below what our forecast was. For 7D, we sold about $6.4 million. So we had a yield of about $444 more than what we had forecast, the way we had structured the bond. The annual max debt service on that is $214,981, which is $113 cheaper than what we had forecast. And your total interest calculation is 4.16%, which again was about 0.3% below. So we did well in the market. We hit the timing just right. Since we really finished the sell on these, the market's been moving away from us. So it's about 30 basis points away from where we were when we sold these. So we got very fortunate with those. So anyway, so we should have dollars in hand for both of those bond sales. Again, the net result of those sales is that we are now able to finish out the bonding for those improvement areas, 7B and 7D. We're doing those at significantly less than what the bonds were authorized and significantly less than what the assigned rates would have been established when the RMAs were done for these projects. So as a result, we're able to deliver those at some savings. So 7B, again, was set this year with the assessment at about a 24% reduction from what the assigned rate would be. 7D will be about a 10% reduction next year. So this year, it's a flat rate. Next year, you'll actually see a reduction if you're in 7D. So 8E, again, we are finalizing the cell on that. It's a couple weeks behind this particular cell. So I'll be reporting back to you on the results of that at our next meeting. So that is my report for you.
Thank you. Future agenda items? All right, we'll skip over that, and we will adjourn the city council meeting at 6:20 PM.